this thing cranked off, guys. I'm super excited to bring you another episode. Yes, this is the Tiffany Bethea podcast. And if you are new and you haven't been here before, this is the place where we talk about being a bold, fearless CEO of your life and your business. And I'm just super excited about today's topic. I feel like there are so many conversations happening around planning for 2020 and goals. And I just kind of want to talk about it from a slightly different lens. I want to kind of turn the camera a little bit and speak about goal setting from a different perspective and really talk about some of the things I want to make sure that we don't miss as we're planning for 2020. All right. So share this out, share this with your friends, your colleagues, people who you know are planning for the year and could be blessed by these tips. So if you're new to the show, we always open up with our segment called Pop Culture and the Pulpit. That's right. Pop Culture and the Pulpit is a segment where we talk about pop culture events, celebrity news, what's going on in the world, and talk about it from a believer's perspective. And so today, y'all, we got to talk about y'all girl Lizzo, and we're going to talk about John Gray. I'm gonna come back to your girl Lizzo. Okay, I'm gonna come back to her. So let's talk about John Gray, right? This one should be a little more brief. Poor John Gray. I feel like I've said his name so much on live video that he's in the news again. And this time he is in the news for it had been reported that they allegedly were being evicted. His church, Relentless Church. If you're not familiar, he took over what was formerly Redemption Church, Pastor Ron, I believe, Carpenter, and they moved and took their church to California and gave Pastor John Gray an opportunity to be the senior pastor there. He rebranded it as Relentless Church, and so boom, here we are. Well, not that long after, it was reported that they were evicting him. Okay. And so I was really saddened to hear this. When I first read it, I didn't really know what to think. I just said, I've really got to pray for them. But then John Gray actually did release a statement. I saw it on yesterday maybe, but I think it was from this past Sunday. And he basically said, you can search for it yourself. We're not being evicted. There are some challenges that we're working through. This is like my paraphrase, of course. There's some challenges we're working through. And that, the biggest thing I like that he said was that, we're going to handle this the believer way. We're not going to bash. I don't want you guys bashing them. I don't want you bashing us. We're going to handle this privately and do it in a manner that's pleasing to God. And I found that statement to be refreshing because number one, I don't know who or why, like what was the motive behind leaking this to the public. Like it really wasn't not our business. If their church, now one of the things that had been said was that they were behind on some of the ministry bills. He clarified that and said, we have paid everything that we were supposed to pay up until now. We have paid. And that was good to know because it's important. I mean, quite frankly, people want to know that where they worship, that they are being good stewards of the resources, So I thought that was good. Someone I saw in the comments, I'm a comment troller. Anybody else like to read the comments? I just want to know that I'm not by myself. I like to read the comments. And one of the comments I saw basically said, like, why did he share this publicly? Maybe he could have not streamed this part of the service, or maybe he should have only shared that for his members. But I think that when you are at that level of influence, he's leading more people than just people who are members of his church, people who are watching him online, people who are, following him from different places. So I thought that it was refreshing that he was open and transparent so that anyone could really see what his perspective and what his stance on it was. So my takeaway, from this moment is really, number one, we just have to be prayerful because we just never know what you've got. Two sides to a story and then the truth, and you just never know what's happening. But as believers, we are called to be at peace with all men. Even if we're not in agreement, we're called to be at peace and to work things out in a manner that's still pleasing to God. You might not be in agreement. You may have to agree to disagree. It may get, hopefully not ugly, but you are called to do it in a way that it still brings glory to the kingdom. So I hope that they are able to just work this out and that it doesn't turn into something bigger and uglier. That's my prayer when it comes to that. Let's talk about y'all girl Lizzo for a second. Lord Jesus. All week I've been debating whether I wanted to comment or not ever since I saw, I don't know about y'all. Has Lizzo been all over your timeline? Because she has certainly been all over mine. Like everybody's just been sharing their opinion and what they think about it. And, and rightfully so. So let me just if for some reason you've been like nose down in the work and you don't know what's going on, let me update you. Singer Lizzo, very popular singer Lizzo, who has been known for her very empowering lyrics, being someone who is empowering us to change how we think about larger women and the standard of beauty for sizes. Hi, Carmela. She was at the Lakers game and in an outfit where, at least when she twerked, right? She twerked, and there was a part where you could literally just see her whole behind and her thong. And so it sparked such a huge debate. It's been such a debate on social media, so many different opinions. I want to ask you guys, for those of you who have kind of been following it, what is your opinion? That's what I want to know, because you guys know you are my co-hosts. And so I want to know, what do you think about the whole Lizzo incident? Now, if you're listening to this podcast on Google Play or iTunes or SoundCloud, I want you to come on over to our private community. Go to Kingdom Boss Live, or you can simply type in Kingdom Boss in Facebook and come on into the group and let me know what you think so we can keep this conversation going, because I'm curious to know what you think. Okay? I'm going to share my 2 cents, my 2.5 cents with you. Let me say this. I think there's multiple conversations happening. And so, again, as I'm trolling through the comments, I see a lot of people saying it was inappropriate, but I bet you if Beyonce would have did it, nobody would have minded. And so I think that's 2 separate things. Was it appropriate and was it, visually pleasing to the masses is not the same conversation. I think we have to separate them, right? Because there's some truth to the fact that if it was, J-Lo or someone, a lot of people wouldn't have minded. But that's not to say it wouldn't have still been, inappropriate. So, okay. And that said, my opinion, she is very body confident and it really doesn't matter to me. However, I'm a conservative dresser. I feel you in that. I mean, essentially, when it comes to a lot of this stuff, my biggest gripe with social media, I love social media. I'm a digital marketer. You guys know that. I love it. I get paid from social media. But I think one of my biggest gripes with social media is the fact that it has given us license to the fact, like, people really think their opinion matters so much more than it does when it comes to other people's lives. I'm amazed at it, because you're right. I mean, on some level, it doesn't matter. It's not our business. But since, she made it our business, we're going to talk about it. But I feel you. I do tend to be a conservative dresser for the most part. Carmela said I wouldn't do it. Here's my thing. A couple of people said, like, what's the difference between that and Beyonce? They showed a picture of like Beyonce and Rihanna at like the Met Gala. I was like, it's the Met Gala. Like, the Laker game is a family event. You have children there of all sizes. It is intended to be a family function. Something that's for adults has a different standard, because we know that this is for adults. But something that is designed, or intended rather, to be a family fun environment, I do think that it's in all of our best interest to protect the children and the innocent people. And I say innocent people, I mean the children, the little ones who are in those settings. And so are there things I may wear to an adult event, that I might not wear in a family setting? Absolutely. And I think that was my issue. I was like, we can't compare, what some adult is wearing to a Met Gala or maybe even an award show or something that is not designed for children. It's like, look, if you let your kids watch this, that's your discretion, but it's not designed for kids or to be family fun. And so I think that was my only issue. I gotta tell you all the truth. Had I been there and like with my child or with a young kid and she did that, I would have been hot as fish grease. Did you hear me? Because like, I don't want to have to explain to my child what just happened, especially depending on their age. Like, this is just a no. Okay. You know what, guys? We're going to take these earrings off because I'm very media trained and I realize that these are making way too much noise for the microphone. So we're going to, I want you to, especially those of you who are listening to the podcast, I want you to have a nice clean recording. Those earrings were making too much noise. They had to go. Okay. So I just could picture my camera lady saying to me, that dangler is not gonna work. So pardon me for that. Thank you, Carmela. Yes, it's a little something. I forgot to tell you I'm trying something new with my hair. Let me see. If I turn around, y'all can really see what's going on. Okay. Now I need to freshen it up. So don't come for me in the comments. Okay. I've been working hard today, but we got a little something going on. And if you are listening, again, if you're listening to the podcast, you're going to have to come on over to Facebook, our community, so you can see what they're talking about. Okay. So I think the last thing I want to say before I jump into today's topic about this whole Lizzo thing is I think we have to be really careful when it comes to like, if we're trying to empower a group or give a group a voice, I think we have to be very strategic in how we do it. If you are looking to change the beauty standard and make it more acceptable for women of all sizes to be considered beauty, which I think is absolutely necessary. Thank you, Brian. I think it's necessary to do that, but I think that you have to do it in, I think that, how do I want to say this? Don't do it in a way that's also degrading to that group. Thank you, Holy Spirit. You be helping me out. Don't do it in a way that's also degrading to that group, because we want you to be appreciated for your body. Doesn't mean you have to show all of it. Can you if you want to? Absolutely. But here's the kingdom perspective. Here's what we bring it back. Paul said that some things are lawful but not expedient. Now, this is the big one for the saints that's like, well, I mean, I can do what I want. You're absolutely right. But the word tells us that some things are lawful but not expedient or beneficial is what that means in our time. It means you can literally do what you want to do. You honestly can. But as a believer, is it beneficial? How does it impact your witness? What's the fallout of that decision? And so I think that, was she allowed to just do whatever she wanted to do? Of course. But was it beneficial, especially for the message? Probably not. One thing I've seen more recently over the past few years is like, you've seen these different campaigns of beauty with like Muslim women and different women who dress for modesty, whose heads are covered or different things, and they look gorgeous. And it just goes to show that in order to show your beauty or even sex appeal, we don't gotta see everything. Leave something to the imagination. And I think that if we expect men to value us in that way, we have to value ourselves in that way. So I think that's where what she did kind of hurt the message, because there are so many other ways for her to say, look, we're here, big girls, and we're beautiful too. She didn't have to do it that way. That was damaging to the movement. If I was a big girl, I'd have been mad. Like, you messed up the movement. We ain't need that. So that's my 2.5 cents on it, okay? So thank you for hanging with me through the pop culture in the pulpit section. That's our little opener segment to just talk about what's going on in the world. What I learned is that she was responding to her song. Yeah, she was twerking. I mean, look, have fun. I'm fine with it, but just that one scripture I really live by is it may be lawful, but it might not be expedient. I can generally do whatever I want to do, but this just really might not be beneficial. and I will pay for that later. All right, guys. So let's jump into today's topic. Don't make these mistakes while planning for 2020. I am someone who, in my temperament, in my nature, in my makeup, I'm very goal oriented. I'm very driven. I'm a self-starter. You really don't have to get me going. More often than not, you'll have to slow me down or say, take a pause. Right? So goals and dreams and all of these things are something that it's like second nature for me. But I want to share some things I've learned over the years as I've become more masterful, as I've learned from coaches and even seen what has worked in my own life and business around setting goals that I believe is going to be bigger. I'm sorry, I just looked at a comment. That's going to be beneficial for you. Okay. And so don't make these mistakes while planning for 2020. You ready for them? Okay, here's the first one. Do not forget to fully assess 2019. Don't forget to fully assess 2019. What do I mean by that? What do I mean by that? I'm going to type that in, okay? Don't forget. Now, y'all know if you've been around here for a while, watch me live, you know I can't type and talk. Okay, there we go. Don't forget to fully assess 2019. Why do I say that? Because in order to really know where your starting point is, even for the next year, you got to really sit still and have a real mirror moment and say, what happened this year? I know that sounds pretty basic and simple, but what I have found, especially for type A's, is that we just go, we're moving, we're running, and we just go. And so taking time to stop and to sit in it really doesn't feel good for us. And I was actually talking with a client about this yesterday, and the conversation was around more strategic planning with the why in mind. And then what I said was, why people don't do it more is because you have to actually stop. You can't just be running an emotion. You actually have to stop and sit for a second. And for those of us who like to be in motion, that doesn't feel good. And so sometimes we just don't do it. But if you don't really sit down and say what worked well, and I want you to start with what worked well. You know why? Because we are wired to be able to say what didn't work. Oh, I got to fix this. 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 But what did work well? One of the things I found in previous years that messed me up completely was that I forgot what did work. I reinvented the wheel, or I stopped doing something. And then when I went back to it, I went, oh, that's right. Because I was doing this and that was working. So you have to be super intentional about actually writing down and making a big deal, make it visible. What did work? What were the wins? Exactly. And that said, and you don't know where you're going until you know exactly where you are. You can't go now. Back in the day, I was about to say MapQuest, but you can't put in Waze. There we go. You can't get directions to somewhere if you don't give them a starting point. Okay. And included in that starting point has to be what worked well. In order for you to strengthen what went well and to maximize it and leverage it even more for the next year, you got to be super, super detailed with yourself. You got to say, I did this and I found that this worked and this is why. And so this is how I'm going to leverage that some more. This is how I'm going to take it up to the next level in the next year. Don't reinvent the wheel. Don't start from scratch with a completely blank slate. Start with what I like to say, wins and opportunities, right? That's my thing. I learned from two of my coaches. Wins and opportunities. What are your wins? Put those in plain sight so you can see. But then what are your opportunities? What didn't work well and why? Y'all want to know something that didn't work well for me this year? I started out the year determined to work out and, eat better. Now I am eating great. So that is a win. I have been even able to the point of replacing certain snacks with a healthier version. right? I replaced my Doritos with a nice black bean chip that's gluten-free and all this good stuff. I eat great, but I don't work out like really at all, basically. And so that's an opportunity for growth, but I had to get honest about why. And I think, and as I'm still working through it, I think one of the reasons is I picked the wrong time of day, right? I'm not a morning person. So working out at 6 a.m. is probably not going to be the move for me. For those of you who work out at 5 a.m., listen, more power to you. I love you. I respect you. It's probably not going to work for me. The other thing was I wasn't doing enough in my self-care to where I would just be so tired I couldn't pull myself up to work out. And so not only do I see what the opportunity for growth is, but I see why. Why is that important? Because there may be a prerequisite action. For me, it is that I need to really reboost my self-care before I know I'll work out like I need to. Because my self-care has really taken a dip this quarter, just because of everything that's been going on in my life, working out was a fallout of that. Okay, so fully assess, really go deep and ask yourself what went well and what didn't go well, but really get clear on why, so that if it's something that worked great and you know you needed maybe times to it, you can figure out why and how to do that. And if it's something that I just need to flat out fix this, then you can get to the root of the real why. Okay. The other thing that I want to say is when we talk about mistakes that we make in planning, is I want you to ask yourself, have I maxed out where I am? Have I maxed out where I am? What do I mean by that? I think a lot of times when it comes to a new year and all of this, we automatically assume, and it annoys me. Sometimes all the Facebook prophets and everybody's talking about we're ready to shift. Well, the truth of the matter is sometimes it's not time to shift. That was a whole word, okay? Sometimes it's not time to shift. And why do I say that? I talk to people sometimes where I have felt in my own life where I was like, man, I just want to go to the next level. I'm just ready for the next thing. And why isn't that door opening? But I come to realize that if you have not maxed out, and I mean fully exhausted your resources, your effort, your relationships on the current level you're on, you're not even ready for the next level. There are strategic things and very intentional things that God has designed for you to gain in the space you're in. And if you are so focused on the next that you don't maximize the now, that door cannot open, because if it does, you're going to walk through it unprepared. You're going to walk through it unprepared. And you know, Joshua 1:8 talks about good success. I believe that God is setting us up for good success, meaning you will walk through that door prepared, armed with everything that you need. But that can only happen when you really max out where you are. And so what I would say is that in your planning for 2020, how can you continue to max out where you are until you truly shift to the next level? Have you exhausted every relational resource? Are you spending enough time connecting and pouring into people that you're meeting and networking with? Are you exhausting all your financial resources? How much are you investing in yourself? Right? And we're not just talking about business here. I'm talking about your spirit, your soul, your body, your mind, your wardrobe, every part of you. Are you maxing out? That was something that hit me in the gut in probably last year, to be honest. I think that was probably between the 2017 and 2018 gut revelation for me. Was I felt like I was just almost begging God for the next thing. And he was like, I just really need you to max out where you are. And I promise you. And then I started noticing that when I did that, the door would naturally open. It's a natural elevation to the next place because I just maxed out. Okay. Here's something else that I want you to not miss as you are planning for 2020. Now, this one is going to really hit somebody in the gut, and like it did me. Did I do the last thing that God asked me to? Have I truly done the last thing that God asked me to do? Sometimes we get so caught up in it's a new year coming. I'm going to make a new vision board. New. And we're waiting for new instructions. And some of us may even be in a space now where we're like, I don't know what 2020 I'm supposed to do yet. I haven't figured out what direction God has taken me in. And for some of you, he's saying the same direction because you haven't fully done what the last thing I asked you to do. I've been there. Okay. And, I found even as a coach and as a mom, I can relate to that. If I give my son something to do, or I give my coaches something, my clients something to do, you can't come ask me for the next set of instructions. You didn't do the last thing. Meaning, it's not even just always about obedience, but you didn't even gain the benefit. There was a reason I asked you to do it. And I wanted you to get something from it. And because you didn't do it, you didn't get that. So you don't have that to take with you into the next segment. I love it. And that said, not only did I do it, but was it done well? Exactly. Exactly. Right. So I want you to be honest. I know for me, for about 2 years, I didn't do a new vision board. I said, I'm on the same vision board. I haven't finished it. I was like, I'm not making a new one yet. I'm not finished with this one. I have not done everything that God has asked me to do that I put out on this vision board. So don't always assume that just because you are going into a new year, that it means that you got to be starting a new thing. It may be a continuation of what you're already working on. Don't let people trip you up with that. All the coaches, all the speakers, everybody's encouraging us, and we know a new year's coming, but it may just be a continuation for you in what God is asking you to do. Don't move just because it's a new year if that's not what God is telling you to do. Get super clear on what was the last thing. Have I finished it? Have I completed it? Because listen, God's time is so much bigger than the calendar time, right? So much bigger that just because it's a new year starting doesn't necessarily indicate I've got to do a new thing. If I'm still working on the last thing, God's time is bigger than the Happy New Year that's coming. And I've learned, I don't know if y'all learned like I did, I better stay on my square and keep doing what I'm doing. For me, my new season started really in the fourth quarter of this year. And so as I go into 2020, I'm not really necessarily doing a new thing. I'm going in with new strength and new energy, but I've already started the new assignment that God gave me. Even with Kingdom Boss Publishing. I mean, and it's crazy because I didn't even think about like the timing of the launch. It just happened to be when it was. We started working on it, in the second half of the year. And every day I'm taking on new clients and new books. And so as I go into 2020, I'm going to keep doing that. Like that's what we're still working on, my health and eating better and working out, it's been a goal. It's been a focus. It's been a directive. And so I'm going to continue in that. And so as you plan, even how you write it out or how you work on your vision board, some things don't put start so-and-so, put continue ... I need to continue doing this. I need to continue doing that until you fully max out. And when you do, or fully, I feel like 2 and 3 kind of go together, honestly. Because it's not, like Annette said, it's not just about doing what God asked you to do, but it is about also finishing it and completing it. And then you will get those new instructions. Okay. And something else that I want to, as I get ready to wrap up, something else I want to say, that don't make this mistake as you go into 2020. This typing, Jesus. Oh, wait, I don't want it a question mark. There we go. don't forget to celebrate yourself. I know it seems so like, what? Okay. But let me tell you something. Nothing fuels you more for your next victory like your previous victory. And we have to get to the place where we don't only celebrate the big, what seems like the big finish, but incremental steps along the way. For me, with working with clients, we're not just going to celebrate when you write the book, when the book comes out. I'm going to celebrate the fact that your outline is done. We're going to celebrate the fact that you've got a cover design, because you need to be able to celebrate yourself along the way. Each little victory fuels you for the next victory and the next victory and the next victory. And that's how you've got to move along with your goals. I did an exercise with Kingdom Boss Society members as we're planning for 2020, and I had them break down their first quarter. And I mean, really break it down into these super granular pieces. Like, this is what I'm looking to do in 2020. This is what I'm looking to do in the first quarter. So this is what I'm going to be doing in January, February, March. And here's what I need to be doing weekly. You know why I had them do that? Because each week, so one of the examples I gave them was let's say you want 12 speaking engagements, in this quarter. So that'd be 4 per month. And let's say you're getting 1 to 2 a week. That's your goal. Then each week, as you get 1 or you get 2, celebrate that. Don't wait till the end of the quarter to go, oh, I got them all done. But celebrate yourself. Be present in gratitude and watch how that fuels you for the next part of the journey. All right. So I hope that that's been helpful for you. I know that 2020, it's amazing, because I really can't believe that we're going into 2020. Quite frankly, I remember preparing for Y2K. Okay. I'm not saying how old I was, but yeah. I really remember planning for Y2K, and I can't believe that we are here. I'm so grateful that I'm still alive. I'm still able to, be in the plan of God. But I just really want to make sure that as I'm planning for this year, I don't miss God, and I don't miss the little things in just the excitement of yeah, go grind, purpose, yeah, move. That, you know what? I'm going to be still. I want to be present. I'm going to say, God, what do you have me to do? Am I just continuing something? Am I starting something? What are we doing this year? And if you're in the place where you still feel stuck, you're not sure. Everybody's talking about what to do with your written goals, but there's a lot of people who aren't sure yet. I don't know what 2020 is going to look like, and that's okay. Give yourself the grace to say, I don't know, but then have the wisdom to go and lay at the feet of Jesus. And I'm telling you, you gotta do it. Discipline yourself. Steal back your time. Take a moment to just lay in his presence and go, what do you need me to do? What are we doing? What are we doing? For some of you, you need to just lay in his presence and be refreshed and to be refilled. For some of you, you just need to be strengthened. Some of you need comfort. All of the things that you've experienced in the first one, I talked about assessing your year. It's almost like being out on the battlefield and coming back to the barracks. You've got to look at your wounds and scars and get them patched up. Go before the presence of God and allow him to wash you and patch those wounds up that you took in 2019, so that you don't carry forward the disappointment and the hurt and any fear, because that's going to impact how you execute your 2020 goals. Come into the year healed and healthy and strong and revived and refreshed. All right. So don't make the mistake of just moving, but take some time to lay before the presence of God. Yes, Carmela said, I started with the prayer closet. I slept all night. I love it. Thank you guys. Carmela and Annette, you guys get the VIP award for this show. I love the comments. So guys, listen, if you're not already in my Facebook community, come on over to kingdombosslive.com. Let's continue this conversation. What do you need? How can we support you as you plan for 2020? How can we pray for you? Who do you need to be connected to? What are you working on? Let's just strengthen and edify each other. All right, guys, can't wait to see you on next week's episode. If you want to watch live, come on over to our Facebook page on Wednesdays at 12:30. And of course, you can also listen to this podcast on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud. All right. Love you guys, and I will see you soon.